Chapter number 1 of The Greatest Salesman in the World, written by Ogmandino. Let's get some motivation, okay? Let's get some Tuesday motivation. Thank you, my sinner and seller for the potatoes. If you want to do a potato and roast fight today, go right ahead. I bet potatoes will win. Listening practice, Luna. Exactly. Today we're gonna review part number 1, which we did a few months ago. We did this a few months ago. Wait, okay, before you do a potato roast fight, let me add the potatoes to the gift so you can see who is winning. Oh no, potatoes are also, it's an unfair comparison because potatoes are like times 5. Let me add the hearts to roses. So if you give a rose, you can see it. Give me a second. There you go. Okay, here we go. This is chapter number 1. I'm gonna read just a small piece and then we'll talk about it. A few sentences at a time. Listen up. Today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which hath too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Mediocrity means, of course, being average, just surviving. Mediocrity is like a bad word for average. Nobody wants to be mediocre. So he said, I will shed my old skin. Animals like snakes shed their skin to grow. Crabs shed their shell to grow. So he says, today I will shed my old skin. I will grow from my old skin, which is average. He wants to be more than average. Good for him. Mediocre, guys, is MEDIOCRE. Mediocre. Today I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. Today I am born anew. I am born again. Again, we're in a vineyard where there is fruit for all. There is enough for everyone. Remember, even in this world, there is enough money for everyone. There is enough opportunity for everyone. But for some people, it's much harder to find this opportunity. Today, I will pluck grapes of wisdom from the tallest and fullest vines in the vineyard, for these were planted by the wisest of my profession, who have come before me, generation upon generation. He says, I will pluck the grapes of wisdom. So he says, every grape is an experience. A wisdom is a piece of somebody who has gone before him. Somebody who has been there before him. And that's where he will learn from. Today I will savor the taste of grapes from the vines, and verily I will swallow the seed of success buried in each, and new life will sprout within me. To pin, you just hold the comment and then click pin comment. That is how. So you take the vines, you have these beautiful vines made by those that came before you. You take the grapes, you take the experience of the people who have come before you, and you learn about the seeds of success. So you look at where did people succeed, what did they do, what can I learn from it? The career I have chosen is laden with opportunity, yet it is fraught with heartbreak and despair, and the bodies of those who have failed, were they piled one atop another, would cast a shadow down upon all the pyramids of the earth. Whatever career you chose, there are opportunities. There are opportunities, but there are also 100 times or 1,000 times more people that failed, that didn't make it, that did not get to grasp these opportunities. They tried and they stopped. And it is for you to keep on working to those opportunities, he says. Beautiful, by the way, I have chosen is laden with opportunity. Laden is an old English word for loaded. Loaded. Like a loaded chest of gold. Like it is filled with gold. It's filled with opportunity. Laden with opportunity. Which is funny because laden we still use in Dutch. In Dutch we can say geladen, which means loaded. Laden. Beautiful old English word. Also, one atop another. This is very modern English. One atop another just means on top of each other. Instead of saying on top of each other, one atop another. A little bit more sounding sweet. Yet I will not fail as the others. For in my hands I now hold the charts which will guide me through perilous waters to shores which only yesterday seemed but a dream. Beautiful, figuratively written of literal things. So these shores are the things that are your dreams, the places where you want to go. Think about going to Hawaii or Haiti, those beautiful beaches, maybe in Bali, that's where you want to go, but they seemed like a dream. But he says, with these charts, I will be able to go there because they will guide me through perilous waters. Perilous, Perilous. Perilous, perilous, which is like dangerous waters, really dangerous waters. So he says, with the experience of those that went before me and these scrolls, I can get to my dreams. I can make my dreams come true. Here's the next one. Failure no longer will be my payment for struggle. Just as nature made no provision for my body to tolerate pain, neither has it made any provision for my life to suffer failure. Provision, guys, is something that's given to you. Like, you cannot tolerate pain that well. Tolerating means like hanging on to. Like a little bit of pain and you will back off, right? You always want more happiness, but a little bit of pain can be hurtful. So, he says, nature has made no provision for me to have pain. So I also shouldn't have failure in my life. I shouldn't at least hold on to failure. The opposite of pain, relief or feeling good, that is your life. So the opposite of failure is also what should be. Failure, like pain, is alien to my life, which means you don't know it. It doesn't exist. In the past, I accepted it as I accepted pain. Because some people say you gotta accept your failures, like I accepted pain. Now I reject it. And I am prepared for wisdom and principles, which will guide me out of the shadows into the sunlight of wealth. Oh, beautiful opposites. Out of the shadows where you have failure, where you feel the pain, where you are just average, mediocre, where you don't want to be, into the sunlight of wealth. Guys, wealth is not only money. Wealth doesn't mean only being rich. Being rich is part of being wealthy. But wealthy also means you are healthy. Your life is good and happy, and you have the things that are good for your life. Wealthy. So never aim to be rich, because you can be rich and very unhappy. But if you are wealthy, you are also happy. That is rich, or at least you have enough money, you have a great family, you have everything you ever wanted. That is being wealthy. Wealthy doesn't mean you're a millionaire. Maybe it just means you have enough money to do the things you want to do, if it's not too crazy. But also good health. Yes, good health is part of being wealthy. So aim for wealth. I'll read the sentence again. Now I reject it, and I am prepared for wisdom and principles which will guide me out of the shadows into the sunlight of wealth, position, and happiness, far beyond my most extravagant dreams, until even the golden apples in the garden of Hesperides will seem no more than my just reward. Sounds difficult, it's not that difficult, listen. So he will step into the sunlight of wealth. He is looking to be wealthy, into a good position and happiness, far beyond my most extravagant dreams. Oh, extravagant, beautiful English adjective. Extravagant. Can you type the word, guys? Extravagant. Extravagant dreams are your most wild dreams, where you're like, that's never gonna come true, but I can dream about it. Like, I want to have a house on Hawaii. I want to travel everywhere. I want to have enough money, have an amazing family. Extravagant dreams. Like, over the top is what extravagant means. Over the top. Extravagant dreams. And then he says, until even the golden apples in the garden of Hesperides. So, out of my knowledge, the garden of Hesperides is part of a Greek mythology. So the Greeks, before the Romans, they have a lot of gods like Zeus and Odin, Thor. Those were the Norse gods. But you have Poseidon and Hades. This was like the Greek Empire more than 2,000 years ago. So Hesperides was another god. And Hesperides was supposed to have a garden full of golden apples. Extravagant means over the top. So for example, if you go to a party where everybody is just wearing t-shirts and pants, but you come into this beautiful gown dress, full makeup, hair done, you look over the top. You look extravagant. Like that. Sparkling, 10 times sparkling. Extravagant. Little bit of Greek mythology there for you. Thank you for the follows, guys. Every Tuesday, listening practice. Time teaches all things to him who lives forever. But I have not the luxury of eternity. Guys, eternity means forever. To live forever is eternity. Sadly, we don't have that luxury. Having a luxury, guys, means being able to do things that are not normal. Like having the luxury of traveling everywhere in the world. That's a luxury because the average person cannot do that. But in this case, he says, time teaches all things to him who lives forever. Because if you live forever, you can learn forever. But we don't live forever. However, within my allotted time, I must practice the art of patience, for nature acts never in haste. So, allotted time, A-L-L-O-T-T-E-D, allotted time is a set time. So, for example, the allotted time for my live streams is 2.5 hours. The allotted time is the time that is planned in. A-L-L-O-T-T-E-D. Allotted time within my allotted time. So he talks about his life. So the time I get to live, that is the time I need to learn patience. Why do you need to learn patience? Because nature never acts in haste. Haste or hasty means quick, fast, haste. So he says nature never acts in haste. So you gotta be patient. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much for supporting the free community. Jay is the real MVP in this chat. And Blue is the real MVP in this chat. Beautiful, beautiful. To create the olive, king of all trees, 100 years is required. An onion plant is old in 9 months. I have lived as an onion plant. It has not pleased me. Now I wouldst become the greatest of olive trees, and in truth, the greatest of salesmen. What he means by this is, it's easy to plant onions because they only take 9 weeks to grow. But it takes patience and time and caring to plant an olive tree because it takes 100 years. So again, he says, you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. Same counts for learning English. You gotta be patient. You're not gonna be fluent tomorrow. So find a thing that you like to do. Because if you like to learn, you're gonna keep doing it. If you don't like to learn, you're gonna stop. No matter how hard you try, you're gonna stop. So he says, I wanna be the greatest of olive trees. I wanna be the most patient person out there. The most beautiful person out there. But how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How will this be accomplished? How will this be accomplished? Thank you for all the gifts. I appreciate all your support. Thank you. And how will this be accomplished? For I have neither the knowledge, I don't have the knowledge, nor the experience to achieve greatness. And already I have stumbled in ignorance and fallen into pools of self-pity. He says, how can I be great? How can I be good? Because I don't have the knowledge. I'm not that smart. And I don't have the experience because I'm young. And he says, what I do have is ignorance. I am super ignorant, which means you don't see the things from another side. You only think what you think is true. You don't think that something else can be true or be better. That's ignorance. And I also have pools of self-pity, feeling bad for myself. Do you ever feel bad for yourself? Like, Why does this have to happen to me? Just me. Why does this happen to me? Why do I get hurt? That is self-pity. Feeling pity for yourself. But it turns out it's not a good thing. The answer is simple. I will commence my journey unencumbered with either the weight of unnecessary knowledge or the handicap of meaningless experience. So how will I get to be wealthy? How will I get to be great? How can I make my life better? I need to move the microphone to this side. Give me a second. How can I be better? He says. Number one, I will not learn the things that don't matter to me. Everything that is unimportant to me, I will not pay any attention to. This is why I don't watch the news. This is why I don't care about politics. They don't matter to me. And you can say, yeah, they do, but to me, they don't matter. That is why I don't put them in my head. My mom always says, yeah, but it's good to know. No, for me, it fills up my head with information that I don't need to teach you guys English every day. I don't need it for my daily life, so I don't focus on it. So he says, I will not have the weight of unnecessary knowledge, because knowing about things that don't matter in your life are just filling up your head with things you don't need. Knowing about a certain TikTok dancer's drama is not going to help you out in a year, in 5 years. Nobody cares in even a week what happened. And the handicap of meaningless experience. Meaningless experience. Doom scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Meaningless experience. All that social media going into your head, which you forget about the next day. Meaningless experience. And he says, I will commence my journey. I will start my journey unencumbered. Unencumbered. So not feeling these two things. Not feeling these two things. So I will have my journey without unnecessary knowledge and without meaningless experience. Both of these, spit them out. Don't need them in my life. I don't need these in my life. That's what he says. Nature already has supplied me with knowledge and instinct far greater than any beast in the forest, and the value of experience is overrated, usually by old men who nod wisely and speak stupidly. This is an interesting point. Number one, he says, you already have an instinct far greater than any animal. Because the difference between us and animals is that we can make a choice. Animals don't have a choice. Survive or die. We are so advanced that we can do different things every day and we still survive. And your instinct, guys, is not just survive or die, because we can also be comfortable. And this is what you get. Everybody gets this from nature. As soon as you're born, this is what you get. You already got this great gift compared to every other animal on earth. And he says the second thing is the value of experience is overrated. Interesting point. The value of experience is overrated. He says experience is not that important. Thanks for the follows, guys. Every Tuesday is English listening practice day. Why? Why is experience overrated? Because in truth, Experience teaches thoroughly. That means experience teaches very well. However, it doesn't say however, it says yet. Her course of instruction devours man's years, so the value of her lessons diminishes with the time necessary to acquire her special wisdom. So experience is valuable. However, it takes time to learn these experiences. It can take years to learn these experiences. And then as soon as you have learned it, maybe something new came up, which shows that your experience doesn't matter. I'll give you an example. When I went to university, I learned about how to build a building. After 5 years, 10 years, they build buildings in a different way. So my experience becomes less valuable throughout the years. In 50 years, what I learned in university doesn't matter anymore. So then the 4 years that I spent in university are wasted. 4 years of my life wasted. That is what they mean with experience. Has a lot of wisdom, has a lot of value, but over time, the value goes down. He gives another reason. Because furthermore, experience is comparable to fashion. An action that proved successful today will be unworkable and impractical tomorrow. Think about it. If somebody is gonna dress right now as they did in 2005, you will look crazy. You'll look like, what is wrong with you? Fashion is always changing, always evolving. Experience is the same. Experience always changes, always evolves. So the value of experience goes down over time. But there is one thing that endures. There is one thing that doesn't go down ever. And that's the next thing. Only principles endure, and these I now possess. For the laws that will lead me to greatness are contained in the words of these scrolls. What they will teach me is more to prevent failure than to gain success. For what is success other than a state of mind? Principles. Principles will endure, means they will keep going, where failure stops. Principles, who can tell me what are principles? Who can tell me what are principles? Principles. Principles, as in Principles. Not A-S, A-L. P-L-E-S, principles. What is the meaning of principles? Principles are the things in your life that guide you. Principles are the things in your life that kind of like your rules. Yes. Like a guideline. Your values are part of your principles. Yes. They are part of your principles too. Your inner rules. Yes. Your values. And the book says that these are much more important than any experience. Your values, your rules, how you see life is more important than experience. Because these values, these principles teach you how to prevent failure, how to not do the thing you did before. So how you can be better? Because if you stop making mistakes, you can only get better. It's the same in English. In the beginning, you make a lot of mistakes. You fail a lot because you are new to the English language. But after a while, it's gonna go better and better and better. You will make less and less mistakes. And guess what? Your English is growing. Your English is getting better. Welcome to Listening Practice Tuesday. This is how you learn English listening, and today is Motivational Tuesday. Did you like that? Motivational Tuesday. Let's see. Which two among 1,000 wise men will define success in the same words? Yet failure is always described but one way. Listen, guys, success for everyone is different. Success for every single person is different. Where one person is already very happy, they try to have a conversation. They had a conversation with someone, that's their success. For someone else, it isn't enough without grammar mistakes. They gotta be perfect in every conversation. Success for everybody is different. However, failure is always the same. Because what is failure? Failure is a man's inability to reach his goals in life, whatever they may be. You not reaching your goals, that is failure. For everyone, whatever the goals are, it doesn't matter. You don't reach your goals, that is failure. For every single person in life. So he says your values, your principles prevent failure. They don't focus on success, but they just stop you from failing. So you can do better. Everybody has their own goals, their own way of success. That's why I cannot tell you how to learn English successfully. This is exactly why. Because what is fluent English for you is different than what it is for the other person. Your goals are different than other people's goals. That is why you have to figure out what works for you. But I can tell you how not to fail. That is what I can give you. If any teacher tells you this is how you are fluent in 1 month, he is lying to you. Because this is different for everyone. Eliminate, Mohammed. Focus on the class. Today is not how to pronounce the word day. That was yesterday. So, failure is a man's inability to reach his goals in life, whatever they may be. And I'm not talking about a man like a guy. I am talking about men, as in men and women, humanity, men. In truth, the only difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to all success. Bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. Habits. What are habits, guys? What are habits? Things you do subconsciously and often. Yes, your habit, your routine. Yes, routine is similar to habits, your daily routine. What do you do? What is your habit? Starting in the morning. Some people's habit is to get up very early. Some people get up very late. Some people use an alarm. They click the button 15 times. Some people get out of bed instantly. These are habits, the things you do throughout your life. What about behavior? Yes, habits are your daily behavior, what you do every day. Good habits are the key to success. Bad habits are the unlocked doors to failure. Why is he saying unlock doors? Because you can do any bad habit at any time. That's not a problem. If I don't want to go to work today, I'm not going to go to work today. It's an unlocked door. You can always do the things that are bad for you. Doing the things that are good for you can be tough, can be harder. But the bad habits, they're unlocked doors. You can go in at any time. At any time. Nobody is holding you back to do bad things. Except you. One more time. Good habits are the key to all success. Bad habits are unlocked doors to failure. Thus, the first law I will obey. Yes, you will obey. The first law I will obey, which precedeth all others. The first law that comes before everything else is, I will form good habits and become their slave. I am using the word slave in a live stream. I will form good habits and become their slave. Which means I will do it without question. I will follow my good habits because they are good for me. No matter if they make me feel good or bad, I will do them. Because in the end, they are good for me. I will form good habits and become their slave. I will explain slave to you. The book explains slave to you. Listen, as a child, I was a slave to my impulses. Remember when you were a child and you wanted to eat sand? You would just pick up the sand and put it in your mouth, right? If you were upset, you would just cry. If you wanted to eat candy, you would just eat candy. As a child, I was a slave to my impulses. Now, I am a slave to my habits, as are all grown men. Now you have built habits. You become older, you build habits, you are a slave to your habits. It's very hard if you always click on snooze to one day just get out of your bed. This is very hard. Believe me, for me it took a lot of effort to change that. Now I wake up instantly. But you are a slave to your habit. It is hard to change the things you have done for many years. That is why we use the word slave. Because you almost have no choice. You almost have no choice in the matter. Snoozing is just because you've been doing it. Now I am a slave to my habits, as are all grown men. Remember, every single person around you has their own life, has their own habits of doing things. Not everybody thinks like you. You think in a very different way because of your habits. I have surrendered my free will to the years of accumulated habits. And the past deeds of my life have already marked out a path which threatens to imprison my future. Beautiful piece of writing. Beautiful piece of writing. Listen. You have a free will. Do you? Because a lot of things you do every single day are just habits. And that's just, I just do it like that. You are a slave to those habits. Do you really have free will? And he says, the past deeds of my life have already marked out a path which threatens to imprison my future. The things you did before will mark out what is gonna happen in the future. Every single day you are working on your future, but your future never comes because all you have is today. So what you do today becomes yesterday, and yesterday becomes tomorrow. So what you do today, good habits or bad habits, will influence tomorrow. That's what he is saying. That is why there is no real free will, because you're a slave to all those years of bad habits. If you are used to drinking alcohol after your work, you are a slave to that because it is hard to quit. Smoking is a habit. Is it a good habit? No. Are you a slave to the habit? Yes, because it is very hard to change. My actions are ruled by, he says, everything you do is ruled by appetite, passion, prejudice, greed, love, fear, environment, habit. And the worst of these tyrants is habit. Tyrants. Tyrants, guys. What a beautiful English word. Tyrants are those things that make your life worse. Tyrants are like dictators. They tell you what to do, and you have to do it without question. Appetite is a tyrant. Passion can be a tyrant. Prejudice, greed, even love can be a tyrant. Fear, environment, habit are all tyrants. And the worst of these tyrants is habit. Habit is the worst tyrant. Why? Because they dictate your whole life. They dictate your whole life. Because your habit decide where you will be tomorrow, what you're gonna do tomorrow. So he says, if I must be a slave to habit, let me be a slave to good habits. He says, if I don't have a choice, please let me not have a choice, but have the good habits. My bad habits must be destroyed, and new furrows prepared for good seed. New furrows, beautiful English word, furrows, F-U-R-R-O-W-S. I actually don't know the meaning. Are furrows the holes in the ground for seed to be planted? I think that's what it is. Like you are preparing to have good habits. Tyrant, guys, tyrant is someone normally that makes your life worse. Like your dad could be a tyrant if he dictates your life. Somebody or something that controls you. Like if you're an alcoholic, alcohol is your tyrant. If you smoke too much, cigarettes are your tyrant. If you eat McDonald's every day, fast food is your tyrant, making your life worse. That is also a tyrant. Now Russo, that's also a tyrant. Not a good one in that way. Self-discipline is a good habit. One of the good habits he is talking about is self-discipline. Thank you for the potatoes and the flame hearts. I appreciate your support. He says, I will form good habits and become their slave. And how will I accomplish this difficult feat? Feat is something you can do. F-E-A-T. A feat is something you accomplish. Like running a 5K, for example, is a difficult feat for a lot of people. Doing a push-up can be a difficult feat for a lot of people. F-E-A-T. So he says, how will I accomplish this difficult feat? How can I do this? Through these scrolls it will be done. For each scroll, the words in this book contain a principle which will drive a bad habit from my life and replace it with one which will bring me closer to success. Every chapter in this book is one principle, is one of those principles, one of those good habits in your life that you can learn from. That is what the chapters are. They teach you a principle which will drive a bad habit from your life and which will bring you closer to success, to the good things. If you notice, if you reread the book now, you will figure out that every chapter is about something bad in your life and how to fix it. The book's name is The Greatest Salesman in the World. We did this a few months ago. We are going over The Greatest Salesman again. We also have The Greatest Salesman Part 2, which we normally do every Tuesday. But today I thought we're gonna review the older chapters. For it is another of nature's laws that only a habit can subdue another habit. For example, you cannot quit smoking if you don't change it for something else. You cannot just quit smoking and not do something else in its place. You have to exchange it by doing something else. So a lot of people, for example, when they quit smoking, they will either start chewing on gum a lot because it's the same kind of habit, or they will start eating a lot, or they will start exercising because they exchange the time that they smoke for something else, another thing to do. And he says this is nature's laws. You have to change one habit for another habit. I've never smoked in my life, but I've seen people go through it. He says one more time, another of nature's laws that only a habit can subdue another habit, good or bad. You can exchange a good habit by a bad habit, but you can also exchange a bad habit by a good habit. So, in order for these written words to perform their chosen task, I must discipline myself with the first of my new habits, which is as follows. Finally, he mentions discipline. Discipline, meaning having to follow a certain thing. Having to follow a certain thing. Trinity, can you type the book's name? Thank you. This now is the first habit. So I already gave you what failure is. Failure is a man's inability to reach his goals in life, whatever they may be. And I already gave you the first law that you should follow. The first law that you should follow. I will form good habits and become their slave. I will form good habits and become their slave. What good habits will you form? Well, the first habit is I will read each scroll for 30 days in this prescribed manner before I proceed to the next scroll. He's talking about a book. Why do you need to read every single chapter once a day for 30 days? Because then it becomes natural to you. Why do you think you should practice English every single day for 10 minutes or 15 minutes? So it becomes natural in your mind to use English every day. And you will have to stop thinking about it. Because only if you use English every day, you will stop translating in your head. That's the secret to stop translating in your head. Using English over and over and over. If you introduce yourself 1,000 times, you don't have to think about it anymore. Because it's a habit. I will skip this part about how to read the words. Because that's not important to you guys if you don't have the book. Listen, the reason why you do it every day, and this also counts for English. So think about it. This also counts for English. Because what can repeating something do every day? What will this habit accomplish? Herein lies the hidden, welcome back Toronto. Herein lies the hidden secret of all man's accomplishments. As I repeat the words daily, they will soon become a part of my active mind. But more important, they will also seep into my other mind. That mysterious source which never sleeps, which creates my dreams and often makes me act in ways I do not comprehend. What does he mean by this? Two minds, an active mind and a sleepy mind? Well, many things every day you do without thinking, right? There are so many things you do without thinking every day. Where do you think that comes from? Those are your habits. Because you're used to it, you do it. That's why. That is your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind. The mind you don't use actively. He says when you do something every day, eventually it will go into your unconscious mind. Have I drank coffee yet? Cheers. This is the last of my coffee. I hope you're doing fantastically. Thank you, by the way, for all the follows in the meantime every Tuesday. Listening practice for English. And today, Motivational Tuesday. Hope this can help motivate you. Refreshing. The book is upside down. Secretly, I was reading the book upside down the whole time. Okay, let's see where we were. One more time. As I repeat the words daily, they will soon become a part of my active mind. But more important, they will also seep into my other mind. The mysterious source which never sleeps, which creates my dreams and often makes me act in ways I do not comprehend. Like you do things without thinking and you don't know why. That mind is why. As the words of these scrolls are consumed by my mysterious mind, I will begin to awake each day with a vitality I have never known before. My vigor will increase. Your wanting to do things will increase. My enthusiasm will rise. My desire to meet the world will overcome every fear I once knew at sunrise. Some people are afraid to wake up and to do things that they have to do that day. But with this, you will overcome every fear you once knew at sunrise. I will be happier than I ever believed it possible to be in this world of strife and sorrow. So he is saying that the world is a difficult place. It's not, he doesn't say it's an ugly place. He is just saying that the world is full of strife and sorrow. Sorrow is like pain. It's full of bad things. But he says this way you will be happier than I ever believed it possible to be in this difficult world. Strife, guys. S-T-R-I-F-E. What does it mean? I don't read this book in the morning, guys. I have had this book for many years. Make an effort to reach a goal. Yes, striving towards something, guys. Striving towards something means you are looking up at your goal, not looking down. Striving to be better. You're trying your best. Striving is trying your best. Eventually, I will find myself reacting to all situations which confront me as I was commanded in the scrolls to react. And soon these actions and reactions will become easy to perform. For any act with practice becomes easy. Any act with practice becomes easy. Anything you do, if you practice it a lot, it will become easier. Yes, English is difficult at the start, but if you keep on doing it and doing it, it will become easy and you make your goal more difficult and that becomes easy and you keep going. And then you look back 6 months, 1 year and you're like, wow, I got so much better than half a year ago. Sometimes you're stuck. Look at where you were a year ago. You are doing great. You are doing much better than you did before. Well done. Thus, a new and good habit is born. For when an act becomes easy through constant repetition, it becomes a pleasure to perform. And if it is a pleasure to perform, it is in a man's nature to perform it often. This is why I tell you, learn English in a way you like to learn it. Because if you like to learn it, it becomes easier to learn. You will do it more often. Does that make sense? The book is The Greatest Salesman in the World. The Greatest Salesman in the World. 10 minutes. What is 10 minutes a day? You are scrolling on TikTok 3 hours a day. You can spend 10 minutes on learning English every day and you will improve. Imagine where you are in half a year. Just 10 minutes a day. Your English is gonna be fantastic. As I read and reread the words in the scrolls to follow, never will I allow the brevity of each scroll nor the simplicity of its words to cause me to treat the scroll's message lightly. This means no matter how simple the message is, I'll just be like, yeah, that's so simple and just throw it aside. No, Simple can have a lot of meaning, guys. Simple can have a lot of meaning. Today's video is a short video. Doesn't mean it doesn't have any value. It doesn't mean that more difficult English has more value than simpler English. I always use simple English because I think it has more value than difficult English. Because many more people can understand my speaking if I speak simple English. Doesn't mean I'm bad at English, that I'm not using words like extravagant, amazing, gorgeous. That's the message. When somebody tells you something very shortly, don't shove it aside and be like, oh yeah, whatever. No, it can have a lot of value. Thousands of grapes are pressed to fill one jar with wine, and the grape skin and pulp are... As I read and reread the words in the scrolls to follow, never will I allow the brevity of each scroll nor the simplicity of its words to cause me to treat the scroll's message lightly. Simple messages don't matter. Bro, Bam Bam, you're gonna get instantly banned everywhere right now. I'm done with you too. Enjoy just watching. If you can't stay with the class, just scroll. Remember that some messages have a lot of value. They come from a lot of experience, guys. They come from a lot of experience. Like, practice makes perfect. 3 words that mean a lot, okay? Practice makes perfect are 3 words that are so important because it's true. It's based on millions of hours of English learning experience. It's not just 3 random words. Only the pure truth lies distilled in the words to come. I will drink as instructed and spill not a drop, and the seed of success I will swallow. Today my old skin has become as dust. I will walk tall among men, and they will know me not. For today I am a new man with a new life. Move aside your old bad habits, and you can be better today. That is what he is saying. You can be a better person today if you choose to be and follow your habits. Build the right habits and you will get there. That was chapter number 1 of The Greatest Salesman in the World.